So what is going on, guys? It's your boy Amaziah here, and today we're going to be talking about some new information that was given to us from GameInformer about Spider-Man PS4. And I felt like this information was something that needed to have its own video because it's interesting. And when I say interesting, it's talking about the side missions that Spider-Man PS4 will actually offer us. And what they had to say about them is damn dope, because it makes it sound like it's something that they knew other games have had and they just knew that they needed to expand upon them rather than just allow them to be the same exact fucking thing. Because obviously when it comes to Spider-Man, there's not truly too much that you can do when it comes to side missions when you think about it, because obviously he's a guy who swings on webs from buildings, so usually anything he will have to be able to get engaged with has to be something that has to do with like regular criminals if you want to have side missions. Your side missions can't always be things like one of the villains and stuff popping up, because every villain within Spider-Man has, of course, taken some level of thought to beat, such as Rhino. Rhino is a regular within the Spider-Man series, but of course, obviously, every time a new Spider-Man iteration has to deal with Rhino, he has to find a certain way to beat him. And obviously, this would cause for missions that or actually boss fights that has to be properly designed, rather than having something like this to where it's just like side missions that you can do to padding out time and actually just have a lot of fun, letting the world feel like it's alive, letting the world breathe, let it give you something new, fresh, and exciting to do. And what they talked about here shows that, of course, Insomniac and the way that they thought about side missions within Spider-Man PS4 is great. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing is general crime. As you web swing around the city, you stop all kinds of crime. We stopped a store robbery, interrupted a car chase, and Intihar says Spider-Man also busts up drug deals in alleys and encounters situations where Mr. Negative's Inner Demons gang is caught up in a shootout with the NYPD. So this means that the Inner Demons will be playing a huge role within like the overall world. They aren't just going to be based within the main missions of the game. These general crimes will also change, shift, and combine as you make your way through the game. We saw this in action when the second robbery we stopped evolved into a car chase when some of the bad guys got away. Niggas, this means that the AI is essentially alive. They're kind of like GTA AI niggas. What? These niggas, like, yo, they can go from wanting to fight Spider-Man to getting discouraged due to the fact that everyone around them has gotten their ass kicked, go run and steal a car and haul ass. That sounds fucking amazing. That is such a, like, you know, widened or deeper version of what we've seen in Spider-Man games before. I didn't even know how to put that into words. That's how hyped that shit is. So the next thing is Black Cat Stakeouts. We came across one side mission from Felicia, which is Black Cat Hardy, challenging us to find a lucky cat she had hidden in the environment. It was implied that Black Cat is working on something big, and completing her missions will unravel her story. This is a brilliant way to play with other villains right here. Side missions that lead up to the actual story that the side villain actually has. So we know that Kingpin and Mr. Negative will be the main two villains within the game. But of course, if you remember in my video from the 114 rapid fire questions with Brian Intihar, I said that of course it would be interesting if Anti-Venom is one of the villains that you can fight in the game, but he isn't the main villain, and he's more so someone that is connected to the world. So once you defeat the main story, you start to get signs of Anti-Venom, things such as news articles and stuff like that, which we know do update in real time, such as things like cancer and stuff like that being like, you know, disappearing, like people who had cancer losing their cancer and stuff like that, because we know Anti-Venom can heal any human disease possible. So of course, if he can heal any disease, then of course it would be remarkable news that one day someone woke up and they didn't have their cancer anymore. One day someone woke up and they didn't have dementia anymore. You see what I'm saying? So it would be cool to see that stuff, and then following those trails leads you to a boss fight with Anti-Venom. And that's what it sounds like they're doing here for Felicia Hardy, which is Black Cat. The next is the Taskmaster missions. Taskmaster is a Spider-Man villain with the ability to copy others' abilities just by watching them do it. In Insomniac's game, he has left a number of communication devices around the city with missions for Spider-Man to complete. The one we found tasked us with finding a ticking bomb, throwing the bomb into the air, and then firing off a series of webs at the bomb in order to mute its explosion. The more webs we shot at the bomb before it exploded, the more points we got for our mission rating. While completing these missions, Taskmaster will apparently be watching you from the shadows. So fucking Insomniac, what is this game? What is this game? The next thing is the Oscorp research state. Niggas, Harry Osborn is in this game. Harry, like the first sentence says Harry Osborn. So not only will Norman Osborn be in the game, Harry Osborn will be in the game. Bruh, like we didn't even know. We didn't even know. Let's get into it, bro. Harry Osborn is in Europe during Spider-Man, but before leaving, he asks his very smart friend Peter Parker, who he doesn't know is Spider-Man, to do him a favor and check in on a series of mobile research stations littered around the city. The one we investigated was looking into pollution in the city, and in order to complete the experiment, we had to swing through a series of pollution clouds in a certain amount of time in order to collect samples. These missions we completed, I'm guessing that's what they meant to say, because it literally does say these mission here. The mission we completed was basically a speed trial, but with the story conceit. I forgot how you say this word. I know it's a word for real, but conceit revolving around Peter and Harry's relationship. So I don't know what they meant there. There is some more here too, so let's go ahead and get into those as well. The next ones are called Fisk Bases. Wilson Kingpin Fisk is arrested in the game's opening mission, but his business is still going strong. Throughout the world, you will find Fisk Bases full of bad guys trying to keep their boss's business alive while he is behind bars. These will function as combat challenges. The one we did took place on a roof. I'm guessing this is the one that we saw within the actual trailer, because there is an extended footage of that, and of course I think he's talking to Yuri, and of course he's talking about how they're doing more than something. I forgot what it was, but of course the Fisk bad guys are working on some stuff like, you know, peddling weapons, drugs, and shit like that. So obviously he reports that to Yuri, that of course they're doing more than just like construction, because apparently that's what they're doing. They're like acting like they're constructing buildings and actually pushing that weight out of those buildings. So I mean, it kind of makes sense. The next is Peter's old backpacks. Along with the assorted missions you can complete, you also find Peter's old backpacks all over the city. These backpacks will offer insight into Peter and Spider-Man's backstory leading up to this point in his life. The one we found offers some details about the first web shooters Peter ever made. Insomniac is recording dialogue to accompany each backpack to Spider-Man. Can tell you a little about what's inside each one. Intihar said this does not cover all the side quests and distractions available in the city, and promises players will encounter more in the final game. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. This means that literally any avenue is open for any villain. For any fucking villain within Spider-Man. Like, bro. Brian Intihar said that he's the creative director of this game. He's the creative director. So Brian Intihar said that his favorite Spider-Man games are the ones from the PlayStation 1. The ones from the PlayStation 1 involved and engaged with many different Spider-Man villains up to that point in the comics. it seems like what they're doing here is creating a better version of that and a better version of Spider-Man 2. They're just fucking completely destroy everything that has come out about this game says that this game could potentially be game of the fucking year. That's how great this shit sounds. Like, bro, there's side missions that lead into a full story for villains like Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. Like, can you imagine? They aren't just gonna leave it there. Taskmaster, they aren't just gonna leave it there. I'm guessing Shocker, they aren't just going to leave it there. And then it evolved, like, their situations evolve because we learned from, of course, the Daily Bugle post of the one about Feast being open to the public, and of course the trailer from E3 2017. We learned from that one, or was it the PGW trailer? I don't know. I think it was E3 2017 though. But we learned from that one that, of course, Shocker was trying to appeal a conviction. What? Things will go on and evolve as they go. So it's going to be fucking great. Kingpin, he gets beat in the first mission apparently. And the first thing that they're doing with Kingpin and, of course, Fisk is to actually keep them around in the story, around the same time as the Inner Demons, and eventually this will evolve into Mr. Negative and the Inner Demons wiping out Fisk. The story is evolving. It's evolving. Like, everything seems to be integrated into something else, something far bigger within this game. The web swinging in this game, at first when we first saw it, looked like it was going to be very basic, very bare bones. Now we know that there's no reason for you to ever have to stop in Spider-Man PS4. That's how far ahead they thought. Every building, everything that Spider-Man can perch on, everything that Spider-Man can latch onto, he can latch onto it, he can do something with it, he can interact with the environment completely. This game is sounding fucking great, man. I don't even want to waste no more of you guys' time, because I will go on like this forever. This is me, your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class game, and everything you do, don't forget to keep it A-class. And bruh, Spider-Man PS4 is gonna be the shit. Peace the heck out.